Nobody saw this coming. One minute, Cardi B was celebrating new life, announcing a pregnancy that had fans shook, and the next, the internet exploded with a scandal that flipped the entire narrative on its head. A leaked tape, a messy ex, a football star allegedly living a double life, and in the center of it all, a woman who swore she was done being humiliated. The name Stefan Diggs wasn't exactly trending until his ex, Lord Jazelle, detonated the internet with accusations that left fans stunned. She claims Stefan isn't just cheating, he's allegedly been bringing men into the bedroom, and Cardi might be more involved than anyone expected. But the timing of it all? It's too perfect to be random. Jazelle drops this bomb right after Cardi went public with the pregnancy. Now fans are wondering, was this love or a calculated power move? Is Cardi trying to rewrite her story? Or is she trapped in yet another toxic cycle with a man who has more secrets than answers? Because this isn't just a messy breakup. It's betrayal, it's reputation warfare. And the receipts? They're starting to surface. Let's break down exactly how this went from a baby announcement to the most explosive celebrity scandal of the year. When Cardi B popped out with her pregnancy news, it should have been a celebration. But instead, it set off a domino effect that no one saw coming. Fans were barely done decoding her glowing maternity shoot before Offset threw himself into the chaos, blasting off a tweet that read, "Divorce ain't even finalized yet, and you out here popping out another man's kid." The post vanished just as quickly as it appeared, but the damage was already done. Offset might have deleted the tweet, but he couldn't delete the shade. That's when the internet clocked in. Because this wasn't just Offset being messy, it was a red flag waving right in Cardi's face. She had spent years defending him, forgiving him, surviving him, and now that she had finally moved on, it was to a man who might come with even bigger baggage. Stefan Diggs, NFL superstar, bigger bank account, louder public praise, and most importantly, a man who wasn't afraid to claim Cardi out loud, something Offset never quite mastered. To the outside world, it looked like a win. Cardi had traded up, leveled up, and moved on. But underneath the glam and baby glow, the whispers had already started. Was she really in love? Or was this just a calculated way to one-up her ex, secure the spotlight, and show the world she could still pull a powerful man? The baby bump wasn't even cold, and the internet was already questioning everything. But Cardi wasn't the only one under the microscope, because lurking in the shadows was a woman who wasn't ready to let this new love story shine. And her name was Lord Jazelle. Lord Jazelle had been quiet until she wasn't. The minute Cardi's pregnancy hit the blogs, Jazelle, Stefan Diggs' ex and the mother of one of his kids, stepped out the shadows swinging. No congratulations, no neutral energy, just pure, unfiltered chaos. And honestly, people should have seen it coming. Because while Cardi was flaunting love and luxury, Jazelle was still carrying scars. Not just emotional ones, but public humiliation that never really faded. Unlike Cardi, Jazelle never got the red carpet treatment. She wasn't flown out, posted up, or publicly claimed. Stefan never called her his queen on live. In fact, there were even whispers that he tried to deny their child at one point. And when she spoke up, the internet dragged her to hell and back. Fans of Stefan and Cardi went after her relentlessly. People labeled her bitter, called her a 30 foe, accused her of clout chasing, and even took cheap shots at her child. The trolling wasn't subtle either. In one chilling moment, Jazelle shared how a fan told her, "I hope your daughter grows up to be just like you." That wasn't just hate, that was warfare. And Jazelle? She didn't forget. Now, with Cardi stepping into the same spotlight she once begged for, Jazelle saw her moment. Not to get even, but to expose everything. And she didn't hold back. In one live stream, she spoke in riddles, but the target was clear. She talked about cheaters, about fake marriages, about the illusion of being chosen, and every word dripped with the kind of venom that only comes from someone who's been burned badly and is now ready to light the whole house on fire. What made it worse? The timing. Jazelle dropped these comments right after Cardi's pregnancy reveal. No coincidence, no subtlety. This wasn't a coincidence. It was a calculated hit. And the real bombshell? She wasn't just mad that Stefan left her. She was about to claim that he was never really into women to begin with. Just when people thought Lord Jazelle was done venting, she dropped the real bombshell. Out of nowhere, Jazelle claimed that Stefan Diggs doesn't just cheat, he allegedly cheats with men. According to her, Stefan isn't just a player, he's playing for both teams. And she didn't stop there. Because in her version of events, Stefan didn't just keep this a secret. He allegedly brought Cardi B into it too. That's right. Jazelle claimed that Cardi wasn't just turning a blind eye, she was allegedly joining in. She said Stefan brought his male partners into the bedroom while still dating Cardi, and that Cardi willingly participated in threesomes with him and his boyfriends. Allegedly. Let that sink in. The same Cardi B who spent years fighting off cheating scandals, standing by Offset through embarrassment after embarrassment, was now supposedly caught up in a new triangle. Only this time, it wasn't just other women she had to compete with. It was the men too. And just when fans thought it couldn't get any messier, Jazelle said she had proof. A tape. A video that, according to her, would blow everything wide open. The kind of footage that could shatter reputations, flip narratives, and turn whispers into headlines. But here's where the pettiness reached peak levels. Jazelle refused to leak it. Why? Because, in her words, she didn't want to help Cardi's album sales. She said Cardi thrives off attention, and leaking the tape would give her exactly what she wanted: publicity. So instead of exposing her directly, Jazelle dangled the tape like a loaded weapon, letting the threat linger while the internet lost its mind. And it worked. Fans were stunned. Half the internet was trying to figure out if the tape was real. The other half was questioning how deep Cardi really was in this alleged web of secrets. And through it all, Jazelle made one thing clear. This wasn't about getting even. This was about shutting Cardi down completely. As the internet tried to wrap its head around Jazelle's claims, another name resurfaced, one that had already tried to speak out months ago and got silenced: Chris Blake Griffith. A well-known celebrity stylist, Blake had kept receipts, trauma, and a story that most people ignored until now. Because before the Jazelle tape rumors, before Cardi's pregnancy announcement, and before Stefan Diggs was a household scandal, Blake had already tried to warn the industry. According to him, what happened wasn't messy, it was criminal. He claims that during a celebrity event, Stefan allegedly slipped something into his drink. The next thing he remembers, Stefan allegedly trying to make an unwanted advance. Fortunately, Blake said he escaped before anything worse could happen, but the incident left him shaken. And when he tried to confide in people close to him, everything got worse. Within days, a shocking video dropped on TMZ, showing Blake getting jumped in an elevator by 3 men. One of the attackers? Allegedly Diaz Diggs, Stefan Diggs' brother. And suddenly, things didn't look like a coincidence anymore. At first, tabloids painted it as a robbery, claiming Blake had his purse stolen, some jewelry taken, just another LA mugging. But Blake wasn't buying that narrative. He said the timing was too precise, too suspicious. Just days after accusing Stefan of a predatory act, he was cornered and attacked by someone tied to Stefan's own bloodline? To Blake, it wasn't random, it was retaliation. The message? Stay quiet. But the worst part wasn't even the attack, it was the silence that followed. Blake tried to speak up. He reached out to people he trusted in the industry, he asked for support, and what he got instead was rejection. After the alleged assault and the elevator ambush, Chris Blake Griffith was desperate, not just for justice, but for someone in the industry to take him seriously. So he turned to people in Stefan Diggs' inner circle, not to start drama, but to stop it. First, he reached out to boxing champ
Gervonta Davis, hoping for a private conversation, maybe even support behind the scenes. But instead of protection, Blake says he got blindsided. Gervonta fired him as his manager. No warning, no conversation, just cut off. And just like that, Blake was out, alone, humiliated, and watching his career crumble. Blake made one final attempt, and it was a big one. He reached out to Drake. They weren't strangers. Blake had moved in the same VIP circles, worked the same celebrity events, played the same game. So when he messaged Drake with a desperate plea and even included a copy of the alleged tape, he expected something, a response, a share, a little human empathy. What he got instead was ice cold. In leaked DMs, Drake shuts it down immediately. "You asking me to post a tape about you ratting on people, G? I just really don't come from a family or a friend group or a city where that's acceptable. I live by a code, and that's become law." Just like that, the door slammed shut. Drake wasn't just uninterested. He made it very clear. If it comes down to exposing someone or keeping quiet, he's choosing silence every single time. And suddenly, Blake understood. There was no safe space. No industry ally, no celebrity friend willing to go against the code. Especially not for a stylist. Especially not against a powerful man. Especially not when it could damage careers and egos. He wasn't just shut out. He was blackballed. And while Cardi was getting baby shower gifts and Jazelle was going viral on live, Blake was fading into the background with a story nobody wanted to touch and a warning everyone chose to ignore. But the question kept echoing. If Stefan really is innocent, why is the entire industry protecting him so hard?
Let's be real. Cardi B knows how to play the game. She's not new to this. She's been cheated on, clowned, and dragged through the public mud more times than she can count. Offset didn't just hurt her, he embarrassed her, repeatedly. And yet, for years, she stood by him, took him back, tried to make the world believe in a love story that never stopped falling apart. So when she finally filed for divorce, fans applauded, but they were also watching, wondering, what's next? And then boom, Stefan Diggs. More money, more public affection, more status. On paper, it looked like a win. Cardi didn't just bounce back, she leveled up. A fresh start with a new man who wasn't afraid to say, "This is my woman." No sneaky behavior, no lurking in the shadows, just Instagram-worthy couple goals. Or so it seemed. But something about it felt off. Too fast, too polished, too timed. The moment she announced her pregnancy, people started asking, is this really about love? Or is this about branding? After all, nothing generates press like a pregnancy, especially when it's linked to a high-profile man with a spotless public image. And for Cardi, who was ramping up to drop new music, the optics couldn't have been more perfect. A new man, a new baby, a new album. But Jazelle wasn't buying it, and she made that crystal clear. In her rants, Jazelle hinted that Cardi wasn't some innocent woman in love. She was a strategic player trying to prove a point. According to her, Cardi isn't clinging to Stefan out of passion. She's doing it out of spite, out of trauma, out of desperation to show the world she can keep a man this time, even if she has to share him. And maybe that's why she's allegedly tolerating things she would have burned Offset alive for. Because Stefan's no angel. In fact, he might be worse. The rumors aren't just about side chicks, they're about side dudes. And while Jazelle claims Cardi knew everything going in, she still chose to stay. Not because she's okay with it, but because she refuses to walk away from another messy situation looking like she got played. So now Cardi's stuck in a PR nightmare disguised as a fairy tale. And with every leaked allegation, every whisper about Stefan's double life, every blind item hinting at his preferences, she just doubles down, poses harder, posts more, smiles wider. But fans are asking, is this really love? Or is Cardi just clinging to a narrative she refuses to lose? If Cardi thought Offset was chaotic, she might have just walked into something worse. Because while the world was still processing her pregnancy news, the tea started spilling from every direction. And this time, it wasn't just about who Stefan Diggs was with, it was about how many.
Rumors exploded online that 3 different women were pregnant by Stefan at the same time. One of them, allegedly pregnant with twins. And if the timelines are accurate, that would make Cardi baby mama number 4 in the same year. Let that sink in. 4 women, 1 year, back to back to back to back. And yet, Cardi B, the Grammy-winning superstar, the chart topper, the woman who swore she was done being disrespected, is smack in the middle of it, holding her belly and trying to smile through the circus. Fans are calling it humiliating. Industry insiders are whispering that it's career suicide. And social media, it's torn down the middle. Some think she's in love. Others think she's locked into a branding strategy that she can't pull out of now without looking like she fumbled another relationship. And the irony? It's not just Stefan with a messy record. His brother, Stefan Diggs, is also known for juggling multiple women and multiple kids at the same time. The Diggs brothers have built a quiet reputation for being smooth talkers, heavy hitters, and serial impregnators. They might be stars on the field, but off the field, it's giving full-time baby daddy energy. And fans are starting to question everything. Did Cardi know about the other pregnancies when she got with Stefan? Was this an emotional rebound from Offset, or a calculated move to tie herself to a man with just as much clout? And more importantly, why does she keep ending up in the same story, just with a different lead actor? Because no matter how many maternity photo shoots she posts, or how much public praise Stefan gives her, the numbers don't lie, and in this case, the numbers are messy.
Long before the leaked tape, long before Cardi's pregnancy, and way before Lord Jazelle went live with her Venom, the rumors were already there. You just had to know where to look. Because while the mainstream media was busy covering touchdowns and red carpets, the gossip blogs and blind item forums were quietly screaming. For years, anonymous insiders had been dropping cryptic posts about a certain NFL star who was well known among stylists, secretly fluid, and using women as a public shield. Sound familiar? One blind item read, "The former A-list female rapper and her new boyfriend have more in common than fans realize. Both have been accused of going after men they were attracted to." Another dropped this gem. "The A-list NFL player is well aware of the rumors about him. That's why he makes sure to always be photographed surrounded by women throwing themselves at him, even though his real preferences are very different behind closed doors." And then there was this one, which fans are convinced directly references Stefan and Cardi. The football star who recently knocked up the married rapper is now being accused of having a long history of questionable encounters with men. Some say his brother helps keep things quiet. The breadcrumbs were everywhere, but nobody connected the dots, or at least nobody wanted to, because in the world of fame, image is everything. And once a man is labeled DL or even questioned about his sexuality, the backlash can be brutal. Careers crumble, sponsorships vanish, locker rooms change. So instead, Stefan played it smart. He made sure to be seen with women, loudly, publicly, consistently. The flings, the flirty DMs, the baby mamas, all of it built an image of hypermasculinity that shielded him from scrutiny. And for a while, it worked. Until Cardi stepped into the picture. Until Jazelle decided to talk. And until Blake leaked the DMs that everyone else tried to bury. Now, those once ignored blind items are being pulled back into the spotlight. Fans are rereading them, reposting them, decoding every line. And what's becoming clear is this: the industry knew, maybe not everything, but enough. Enough to know there was more to Stefan Diggs than the polished interviews and curated image. Enough to know that the allegations didn't come from nowhere. Enough to know that Cardi B, whether knowingly or not, might have walked into a storm that's been brewing for years. And with the receipts piling up and the whispers turning into screams, the truth doesn't need to be shouted anymore. It's already been written. So now we're left with 3 players in a scandal that feels more like a scripted series than real life. But the damage? Very, very real. Cardi B is standing in the middle of it all, pregnant, glowing, and refusing to back down. She's smiling for the cameras, posting unbothered captions, and acting like she's finally in control. But behind the filters and flawless looks, people are asking, is this really love or just survival? Stefan Diggs might be kissing babies and throwing touchdowns on Sunday, but off the field, he's tangled in a web of rumors, receipts, and quiet accusations that go way deeper than baby mama drama. If even half of the blind items are true, this isn't just messy, it's dangerous. Lord Jazelle, she's the ex with nothing to lose, and that makes her the most powerful one of all. She's not just bitter, she's strategic. She didn't just leak secrets, she flipped the entire narrative and exposed a world Cardi probably never thought would come back to haunt her. Now the internet is split. Some say Cardi is winning because she's finally being treated like a queen, publicly, loudly, and on her terms. Others think she's spiraling, trapped in another relationship built on smoke, mirrors, and the desperate need to prove she can keep a man. But here's the truth. This isn't about who's right. It's about who has control. Jazelle is holding a tape. Blake has been holding the truth. And Cardi, she's holding on to an image that's starting to crack fast. So what happens when the truth actually drops? What happens if Jazelle really releases the footage? What happens when the NFL can't protect Stefan anymore? What happens when Cardi B realizes she might have traded one humiliation for another? One baby, 3 pregnancies, 4 rumors, and 1,000 lies later. Who's playing who, and who's about to get played next? Stay tuned, because whatever's coming next, it's going to be explosive.